Good morning, everybody. So today we're going to go through a bunch of different things. One of the main focuses is going to be the Turkish Get Up. It's one of the exercises that I do with some of my more advanced classes, and I feel like it would probably be beneficial for there to be some sort of practice that you can kind of set into it to get your Turkish Get Up better without just breaking into bad habits. So let's go ahead and we're going to start out with a little bit of marching to get warmed up. And if you have a kettlebell, I want you to warm up with kettlebells, because this first one is about wrist position, because in the Turkish Get Up, wrist position is almost the most important thing. We kind of make sure that whatever we're holding, our hand doesn't look like this or this. It's always got to be knuckles straight to the sky, wrist straight with no tension. So as we pick our weights and you get started, whether it's a dumbbell or a kettlebell, let's make sure that you've got that nice wrist straight position. The elbows can be slightly out away from the sides. The wrists can be straight. The knuckles are somewhat touching, but they don't lean on each other. They're right in front of you. And keep those weights up by the chin, because if we start letting the weights drop, then that means our shoulders drop as well. So keeping those up at that position, feeling the elbows reaching out and down, keeping the middle part of your elbow from being tense. We want to free all the tension out of our arms and our shoulders and really focus on our ribs anchoring down, our shoulder blades anchoring down, feeling the chin stay low as we keep the back of the neck long. And so yes, we're just marching, trying to wake up the wrist position as well as all of our posture. Keep the toes lifting in front, bringing the feet in front of you. Try not to just kick your butt. We want to bring those feet forward, and you'll feel your abs kick in more. All right, so let's bring those down to the ground. Roll your shoulders, and let's give me a banded reach up. Whatever band you feel is a good challenge. Just keep in mind that I want those elbows to get straight. So if you find that the tension that you're putting on the band inhibits you from getting your elbows straight, then you need to release the tension a little bit. And so as your elbows go to straighten, your ribs and shoulder blades anchor to the floor. As your middle fingers reach up towards the sky with a nice straight wrist, your ribs and your shoulders anchor towards the floor. Feel the length driving towards the ceiling through your elbows as your ribs and shoulders anchor to the floor. Make sure your weight is centered and you're not leaning back as we're doing this, where you could pop your ribs or go into back extension. We're just looking to see where can we get those elbows straight and come back down. Good. All right, so those are some basic things that we got to make sure when we're doing our Turkish Get Up, that if our arm is ever above our head, we need the shoulder and the ribs to stay anchored, but we also need to try and find that straightened elbow up there. If, when you're doing the Turkish Get Up, you're having difficulty maintaining or holding a position like this, and you feel the weight keeps falling forward and you can't keep a straight elbow, you don't have the strength to keep that up there, then I'm going to say, don't worry about this one today. Watch it. Learn what you want to get better at, but don't challenge yourself to do this if you feel your shoulder cannot stay anchored through the abs and lats and straight through the elbow during this entire sequence. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to start our first breakdown of the Turkish Get Up. And I like teaching the Turkish Get Up in reverse, so it's really the Turkish Get Down, okay? And so what I want to do is I want you to start with your weight above your head. And so what we're going to do is we're going to pull that weight down into our armpit, and then we're going to press that weight up. And then we're going to pull it back down into the armpit, and then we're going to press it up out of the armpit so that the elbow straightens. And so we're letting the palm turn inward, and then we're pressing the palm to give a high five at the top where the palm faces forward. And just again, give me one more, just feeling that we're not letting tension go up into our neck and our shoulder. We're trying to keep everything anchored through the abs and the lats as we do that. Let's go ahead and switch to the other arm now. Same thing. Make sure you have a nice, good, straight wrist position. Sometimes holding the bell either on the middle or on the outside will make that feel better for you. So if you can make it feel a little bit more comfortable, that's fine. But just make sure that you're not buckling that wrist, trying to stay away from that discomfort that you might feel with the bell resting on you. Now, if you have a dumbbell right now, it's really important that you're trying your best to keep your wrist position as straight as possible. Dumbbells have a knack of putting us into a flexion on our wrist or an extension on our wrist, bending it back. So we got to make sure that if you're using that dumbbell that you're trying to channel your inner kettlebell. Make sure as you're pressing that elbow straight, you're anchoring those ribs down towards the floor. And let's go ahead and rest that weight down. And so for the next thing, I want to give your arms a little break with the weight so that we're not just jazzing up your neck and your shoulders. And so I want you to imagine that you have a weight in your hand right now. And I want you to hold that weight up with a straight elbow, pull the shoulder down. And now with the opposite leg, I want you to take a step back and onto the ground. And now come back up, pushing out of that front foot. And then we're going to go back into that same position again. If your arm gets tired here, you can let it rest down. Just make sure as we're working through this step back action that as you step back, you take a big step back and you let that bend happen through the back knee and you keep your weight back as you go down. So as I take that big step back, I'm trying to make sure I tuck my hip and go straight down to my knee. And then I come back up. What I do not want is coming here, staying on that front knee and bending down like that. We want to try and track a line. Once we take that big step back, we want to just bend the back knee and slide down a pole till we hit the ground. And then let's come back up. Let's switch it. So now let's put the other arm up. And again, if your arm gets tired, you can just let it hang down. Just imagine it's up there. And now let's step back with that other foot. Big step, tuck your hip so that you find that line going down to the floor. And then push out of the back leg, push out of the front leg, come back up. Take a big step back, tuck the hip, bend the knee, slide down the pole. Push, push, coming up. We got two more. Big step back, keep the knees loose from each other as you tuck that hip and bend down. And then push, push. Last one. As you take that big step, make sure your knees don't pinch across the midline. And then push out of both legs to come back up. So what I want you to feel during that is that one leg should not be working more than another. You're using both hips, both legs to get down and up out of that lunge. All right, so for this next one, we're going to use the weight again. And so we've gone down to the position where we're on our knee. So that's where we're going to start on this one. And I'm sorry, let me get my head straight. If it's in this hand, I would be on this leg. So what I'd like you to start on this exercise is knee on the ground. Let's put your left knee down on the ground and make sure that you're not over top of that kneecap on the outside of the edge. We need to be on the inside edge of that kneecap, never just grinding right onto our kneecap. And we see that you're holding your bell. And all I want you to do on this one is to stick your butt out, and then I want you to come back up. And we're just going to keep this bell right here just to practice getting a little bit of energy going through the wrist, making sure that that stays straight. And I just want you to stick your butt out, windshield wiper your foot over, and then come back up. All of this is going with no pinch between your pubic bone and your groin. So as I stick my butt out and I twist over, I touch my hand right beside my leg, and then I come back up. Let's go ahead and switch to the other side. And again, I'm preserving you from putting your arm quite up there yet because I just know it's going to wear your arm out. So work on the wrist, even though I have you in a little bit different position than what we'll do once we put this all together, okay? Make sure your knees are loose from each other. Make sure you're not over top of that knee and we're off the middle edge. And so now as you find your hand close to your knee, you want to stick your butt out and imagine you're spreading your butt crack as you push your butt away from what your hand does. We also want to see that foot on the bending knee move. It's what we call a windshield wiper, where we're just sticking our butt out, windshield wiping our foot over, putting the weight into our hand, and then we're pushing back out of the groin to come back up. All right, so now we're going to go from this position where We have that other knee down. We've got the other arm. Sorry. Let's take a little break. Sorry. Take a break. If I'm confused on the legs and I want to make sure I get this into your head right, I want you to relax for a second. So what I want to do is just go through what we've done so far so you can get it kind of into your head. I'm teaching it in little pieces, so I want to let you put it together a little bit. So for this one, your arm has been kind of resting. I haven't made it go up here. So if you can keep your arm up there with a weight, you're going to hold a weight up here this time. If you don't need a weight yet and you're not sure, the best way that you can kind of get this right is to not load yourself yet, okay? So feel everything coming together without a big weight if you need to. So we're going to put the weight in your right hand. You're going to take a big step back. Sorry. You're going to press that weight up to the sky. And now you're going to take a big step back with the opposite foot, the left leg, tuck that back knee, go down to the ground. And now we're going to windshield wiper our butt over and our foot and touch the ground with our hand. And now we're going to come back up from this. So we're going to press and windshield wiper our foot back over. We're going to push out of the back leg and push out of the front leg. And then we're going to pull the bell back into our lat and say good job. So let's try it again on the other side. So we're going to press that weight up to the sky, elbow straight, ribs anchored. Big step back with your opposite foot. Tuck that back leg, find yourself sliding down that pole, keeping the elbow straight. And now windshield wiper the foot, touch the hand right next to the knee as your butt sticks out. You should be looking at the bell through all of this so far. And then as we come back up, we can look forward, and then we come up and pull it back down into our lat. So let's do it on the other side. Let's bring it up to our clean position. Press it up, and now we're going to take a big step back again on the left foot. Tuck the back hip, find that slide down the pole, keep that elbow straight. When we go to windshield wiper, we look up at the weight as we touch our hand to the ground and we stick our butt up. Now from here, we come back up. We look forward as we find ourselves tall again. We press out of the back foot and out of the front leg, and we pull the weight back down. Awesome. Let's go one more on the other side before we add on to the second half. Bring the weight up, anchor the ribs and shoulder down. Big step back. Tuck that back hip, slide down the pole. Look up at your weight as you windshield wiper your foot and stick your butt out. Keep pressing that weight up but pulling the shoulder down. And now we're going to go back up by pushing out of the knee, looking forward, pressing out of the back foot to press out of the front leg, and then pull it back down into your lat nav and take a little rest. Awesome. So again, the Turkish Get Up is one of those things that you want to make sure you're in the right frame of mind. And if something feels really awkward when you're doing it, reassess and make sure you're doing the right side and you're bending the right legs. This is one of those things that can kind of get out of sorts. So it's really important to make sure that you're watching, you're learning, and you're practicing without causing a lot of offense to your body. If things are really hurting or you're feeling this in areas that are symptomatic to you with problems, then what I'd say is just watch this one. Just do another exercise, or roll on your rollers, or stretch something else while you watch this routine and just process it. Sometimes being able to watch it and learn from it is almost more beneficial than trying it in the beginning. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go from that bottom position where we've got the arm up and the butt out and the hand touching the floor, and we're going to now do the floor component. And so for this first one, we're going to do it with weight, and then we may kind of change and let your arm take a break and do it no weight for the second little breakdown. So for this one, we're going to grab that weight that you had. We're going to go ahead and start on the ground. And when you're starting on the ground, what I want, just so everybody's on the same leg, same arm, we're going to hold the bell in our right arm. Don't put it up to the sky yet. We're going to put our right foot close to our knee with our windshield wiper butt over. So from this position, we're going to raise our arm up, and from now on through this whole thing, we're looking at our arm. So from here, I want you to push into the ground arm and swing that leg up and through, and then set it on the ground. Still looking at the weight, you're going to drop down to your elbow right where your hand was. And now from here, you're going to drop down to your shoulder, and then you're going to roll onto your back. Note the whole time, I'm never going to pinch this knee into this space. And now we're going to go back up. So we're going to press up off of our elbow and reach towards the sky with our weight. And then we're going to push up onto that straight arm. And now here's the last part. You got to really push off of that left arm to swing your knee under and to touch right beside your hand with that knee as you're still looking at the weight. And so we're going to finish this by windshield wipering, facing forward, and let's pull the weight back down into our lat. Take a break and rest. Now, that may have gone really well for you if you've done this a few times. It may have been a little bit of you're losing things and you just feel like you're kind of like a beached whale at times trying to figure out what you're supposed to do. And that's okay. That's why this will be recorded. You can go back and work on it. You can work on this in your own time. I just want to have this as a resource for people, okay? So don't expect perfection today. Just work through it. So for this next one, we're going to do the other side now. So we're going to bring the weight up into our clean position until we get fully set up. I want your right knee to stay down on the ground. Your left foot's going to come up and forward with your foot near your other knee, but close and loose. And so now we're just going to stick our butt out, move our foot over in that windshield wiper position, and now we have our hand on the ground. So now from here, we want to push through that hand that's on the ground to bring our hips up, to drop them down, dropping down to the elbow, and then down onto our side, and then onto our back. And that whole time I had my hand in the wrong position, sorry. So as we come up, make sure your elbow is straight and you've got the weight up. And so as you go, you're going to roll onto your side, onto your elbow, pressing that weight to the sky. You're going to push up onto your straight arm as you keep that elbow straight into the sky. Push up out of that right arm to swing your knee back and out so that it's near your hand and your butt is spread. You're looking at the weight the whole time here. And then from here, you're going to just windshield wiper your back foot, stand up, sit up tall into your knee, and look forward. And then pull the bell back into your lat. And so, even skills, even when we're trying to instruct things, we can mess up a little bit. And so, what I want you to feel on this next one is we're going to combine those two things together. The first one we're doing with no weight. Like I said, we're going to give your arm a little break from holding a weight, but we are going to keep it up towards the sky the whole time. So, let's go ahead and slowly come up to your feet. If you need to grab a little drink of water, grab your water. And so now, let's do a non-weighted Turkish Get Up. And if you've been doing this for a while and you're like, oh my gosh, we're finally doing Turkish Get Ups, I don't want to put my weight down. If you've done this before and you want to keep your weight and you're feeling good with it, please keep your weight, do it. I'm just saying the people who are new to this and figuring it out, let's take a break from the weight for a second. I'll give you a chance to bring it back in, but let's just practice the whole thing together with no weight. And so what I'd like you to do is start with your right hand up to the sky, palm facing forward in a fist. Take a big step back with that opposite left leg, and now bend the knee, slide down the pole to the ground. Stick your butt out as you look up at your hand on the ground touching right next to your other knee. Keep your knee wide as you push out of that hand on the ground, sliding that foot through. Rest your butt down as you're still reaching to the sky. As you go down to your elbow, reach to the sky, keeping the shoulder away from your ear. And now dive over your elbow a little bit to keep the shoulder away from the ear. Find your shoulder and then roll onto your back. And now we're going to come up in reverse. I want you to drive length out of feel your left leg really long and feel how your left heel should be kind of reaching towards the wall. Make sure that you're not pointing your toe here. And so now as you go to get up, you want to drive length through that heel of the straight leg to help that momentum push you up out of that elbow. And now as you go up to your straight arm, keep reaching to the ceiling but keeping the shoulder pulled away from the weight. And now from here, you're going to push your butt up in the air from that left arm and then swing that knee so it touches right next to that left hand. Still looking at the weight here. And now as you swivel the back leg, you look forward and you come up to your top kneel position. And now push out of the back leg and into the front leg to come up and rest your arm down. Awesome. All right, so let's try the other side. All right, left arm up, abs packed, elbow straight, big step back with that right leg, bending down, sliding along the pole. Windshield wiper, looking up as we windshield wiper, touching that hand right next to our other knee that's on the floor. Keep that left knee wide as you push out of that right hand to swing your hips through and then drop them onto the ground. Keep reaching to the sky as you go down to where your hand was with your elbow, still looking at the weight. And now we want to go down onto our shoulder on the side, and then we want to roll onto our back to make sure our neck doesn't get pulled into a position we don't like. And then as we go to come up, just remember that straight heel of the right leg. And as you go to push to the ceiling with your left hand and the wall with your right leg, you're then going to simultaneously drive up out of that elbow. So all those extensions help get you up, and make sure that that left knee doesn't pinch into the space to help you up. It will help you up much more if you push that knee wide. And so now from here, we're going to reach to the sky as we come up to a straight arm, still looking at your weight. And now from here, we're going to push through that right arm to find our knee next to our hand. Keep that left shoulder pulled away from your ear and away from the bell. And then from here, we're going to windshield wiper the foot. We're going to face forward. And then we're going to push out of both legs to come up tall again. So that's the breakdown of your Turkish Get Up. And it's really, again, important that with the Turkish Get Up that you're not going off of brilliantly heavy weights to start. What I want you to do, you know what a good practice is, and I unfortunately don't have a shoe, but you could use something like a yoga block as a close second. I like a shoe better, but if you could get a shoe to balance on your hand like this, that will teach you how to keep your wrist in the right position, because if I put too much tension to my wrist, the shoe or the block will fall off. So what I'd like is, we're going to do another one more time through both sides, and I want you to really focus on the form and how things feel. If you've done this before, you can use a weight. If you've never done these before, I would say if you've been doing everything and you're trying them and you're not just watching and kind of stumbling around, then try a shoe or a block on your hand. And again, I know that it's going to make it very frustrating at times, but it also will teach you as you're getting better what you should be limiting yourself off of and not trying to rush it to get to the weight, okay? So let's go ahead and try it with a shoe, try it with a weight, but we're going to do one more, okay? One more each side. I'm going to go with a little heavier weight this time. And again, guys, let me make this one little caveat. These are in reverse. If you were really talking about a Turkish Get Up, we would start on the floor, we would come up to our feet, and then we go back down to the floor. I just prefer to teach it in reverse, where I teach it up to start on your feet, we go down to the floor, and we get back up. We go through all the pieces, we just do it in a slightly different order. And it's not to say that I don't teach a regular Turkish Get Up, but I don't teach it from the start from the floor, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and grab your weight or your shoe or whatever you're gonna use. I may not take as long to go through them because the weight's heavier, so we wanna make sure that we're not wasting time holding a heavy weight. We wanna efficiently use our body to get through the action safely and efficiently. So let's go ahead and press your weight up. Find your opposite leg stepping back. Tuck your back knee, find that slide down the pole. Windshield wiper looking up at your weight from now on. Find your press to get your hips off. Find your elbow as you press to the ceiling. Find the side of your shoulder to protect your neck. Roll onto your back. Now in reverse. Drive up with that hand along with the heel. Push up to that straight arm without letting any break in your wrist. Find that knee next to your hand. Now look forward as you windshield wiper and away from the bell. And now press up with both legs. Bring that weight safely down. Switch your weight. Bring it to the other side. And now we're going to press that weight up. And we're going to go down opposite leg. Big step back. Knees loose as you tuck on that back leg. Slide down the pole. Windshield wiper. Look up at the weight from now on. Press up out of that hand to find your foot forward. Find your elbow where your hand was as you're pressing to the sky. Keep that left knee wide as you find yourself to the side of your arm. Roll onto your back. Feel that heel towards the wall. And now push that left leg wide to get yourself up. And now find your straight arm. Keep looking at the bell. Get your knee underneath your shoulders, right beside that hand, sticking your butt out. And now look forward as you windshield wiper. And now press out of both legs to find your tall position. Bring your weight back down and onto the ground. Whew, nice job, guys. So, Turkish Get Ups ain't easy, okay? But there's such an awesome exercise that if you don't know how to do a Turkish Get Up, find a professional to teach you how. If you felt like that was a good reminder because we've gone through it before, use it to remind yourself and to always keep yourself safe. And if it was your first time doing it and you're like, what the heck just happened? I didn't like that. Then reach out to me and I'd be more than happy to show you in a personal session how to make that something a lot more fun and just the exercise that you'll do for the rest of your life. But good job today, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful Labor Day weekend, and I'll see you again soon.